Hi guys, I'm warning you now that this week's Dvar Torah might not be the most inspirational, but perhaps maybe one of the most important messages that I've ever had to offer. This week's parsha is called Chukat. Chukat means that it's a law that there is no rationale that can be applied to the reason for a mitzvah. In this case, it is the story of the red cow that is sacrificed, and its ashes are used to purify those that are impure. There is no rationale, nothing that one could say to make any sense of it. It's something that just God tells us to do. The parsha is also filled with some really hard stuff. Moshe and Miriam, two of God's most faithful servants, two great leaders of the Jewish people, pass away in this week's parsha. And finally, Moshe gets the decree from God after hitting a rock, instead of speaking to a rock to get water out of it, is told the sad news that he's not going to join his people in entering Eretz Yisrael. None of this makes sense. It's really a parsha full of Chok. Miriam, Aaron, Moshe, these faithful servants who have led the Jewish people, a nation of slaves, to bring them through the wilderness for 40 years, to be role models and teachers, and yet they don't get a chance to finish the job. That's a Chok. That's something one can't really comprehend with this human intelligence. And the truth, that can really be applied to life. Yesterday I was at a friend's wedding, and a very dear friend of mine shared with me that they have a life-threatening diagnosis. And they too have some family life cycle events to celebrate with their children. And they didn't understand, why is this happening to them? They've lived a healthy lifestyle. They've tried to be the best people they could be. And the truth is, there's just no answer. It's a chok. But I said, you do have a choice, and that you could allow this disease to take over, or you could keep it at bay and say, you know what? I'm just going to celebrate with my family. I'm going to take the time that I've been given and make the most of it. Look at Moshe in this week's parsha. Moshe gets the bad news. You can't go into Israel. What does he do? He works on finding a route and try to bring the Jewish people into the land of Israel, even though he won't be joining them. If it was me, I'd say, listen, God, you're telling me I'm done? I'm getting off the bus. Moshe doesn't do that. Moshe's going to make the most of whatever time, be it limited, to what he always did, was to be a faithful servant to God. Many years ago, I went skydiving in Israel. And my first few seconds out of the plane, I am flying through the air, not flying, I'm dropping really fast. And I'm screaming like, am I nuts, crazy, I'm gonna die. And then I thought to myself, you know, if this is gonna be the last few minutes of my life, what a lousy way to go. You might as well enjoy it. It's easy for me to say when I'm jumping out of a plane with an expert with parachutes on my back. For those of you who are dealing with life illnesses, or have friends who are dealing with some really serious stuff, I think the best thing one can do is just be there and listen. And to realize for all of us that our time in this world is limited, and we're never going to know when we're going to be shown that exit sign, the exit door. So let's take that idea from Moshe Rabbeinu and make the most of every day that we have. And truth is, we don't get a choice. It's a chok. When God decides that time is up, our time is up. But look what Moshe does when he's told, I'm still going to take the Jewish people till my very last breath to bring them up to the border of Eretz Yisrael. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you know someone who could use this, please pass it on. And may the schut of us learning Torah together on the video, may my friend and all those people who are cholim, who are sick out there, have a speedy recovery. Shabbat Shalom.